Hi everyone and welcome back to Tech Booth. Today we are doing some audio stuff and we're going to be looking at this portable PA system called the Fender Passport PD-250. This coming weekend I've been asked to provide a sound system for a small family gathering, and so I decided to pull out this fairly old sound system. This was released in the early 2000s, so it's just clocking over 20 years since this was produced, but it's still a really good sound system. It's portable. It produces about 250 watts total of output, and what that means is that you can cover an event with up to about 250 people quite comfortably with the sound that comes from this sound system. Now, I'm sure it has been discontinued by now, and the successors of this kind of systems are quite many. It's a very popular type of system because it's really plug and play, and it's for people who don't have that much experience with sound. All you have to do is unpack it, put it together, and then connect your sound sources and you're done. So let's see what we get. I have the speaker stands here, but they don't come with the system. This is what comes with the system, and basically what you have are two speakers that form a carry case just like that. So to open it, I just unclip the top here. There is my other speaker, and then at the back here, this came with two microphone cables, two microphones, the power cable and the speaker cables. So there's a small enclosure back here where you can keep all your cables and microphones. Very convenient. You can carry everything that you need in the back here. So the front is organized into about 3 sections, and what you have is your control section, channel controls, and then for each channel you have these controls. The first row are your levels, so this is how you control the volume of each channel. On channel 1 you have something that is called vocal input priority, and this is this dial here, and what it does is whenever you have a microphone connected for speaking through, and then you have some other audio playing on the machine, whenever this microphone starts working, it reduces the volume of everything else that's playing in the system. And then when there's no longer anyone speaking, it will bring the music back up. So you don't have to be playing with the channels to reduce the music when someone is talking. So that's the VIP. And then these other settings are the same for all 4 channels. The first one is your EQ, and it's a very simple form of EQ. All it is when you turn it to the left, you increase the bass, and when you turn it to the right, you increase the treble and reduce the bass. And when it's in the center, you are not affecting the channel in terms of EQ. The second one is a built-in effect, and that's a reverb. So if you have a band that's playing and you have musicians and you have someone singing, you can add a little bit of reverb to the sound source so that it sounds more alive. The third one, or the last one, or in this channel is the 4th one, is your panning. You have your panning knob, and you have a left when you turn it counterclockwise and right when you turn it clockwise. And all it does is it sends more of the signal either to the left speaker or more to the right speaker, but we usually just have it in the center so that the sound is balanced. So that's your main control area, 4 channels. And then you have another control area just below that for your stereo inputs. Those channels also have similar controls to this one. The first one and the second one control your EQ. So for the stereo channels, the EQ is separated into low and high. So your low is your bass and your high is your treble. So you can actually increase both bass and treble, unlike these other channels where when you increase one, you're actually decreasing the other automatically. The next one is your reverb, the same as the previous channels, And then the last one is also a form of panning, but because this is a stereo channel, it's called balance, and you're using that to balance the left and the right channels. But usually we just keep it at the 12 o'clock position or centered so that you have a balanced output. The next section is your main or master section, and that's where you control the main volume, you control the master reverb, and you control the master EQ for the whole system. There is a switch right here that says stereo and dual. When it's on stereo mode, you have control of left and right using these. You can increase the volume of the speakers independent of each other when it's in stereo mode. When you flip it down to dual mode, the system becomes a mono system. In other words, the same signal that goes to this speaker is the same that goes to this one. What it also does is it becomes the monitor volume. So if you have stage monitors connected to this, you can actually now use this to control the stage monitor volume. I usually just keep it on stereo because I don't usually use this for bands and stuff like that. We've talked about the reverb and the EQ. Again, the EQ is the simple one, just like this one. When you go clockwise, you are increasing the treble. When you're going anti-clockwise, you are increasing the bass and reducing the treble. I'll just keep it centered. Your next section is your input. This is where you connect everything. And you have a choice of XLR or quarter inch to connect. So mic level and line level inputs, there are 4 of them. You use the mic level obviously to connect your microphones, and then you use your line level to connect line level things like your instruments like keyboard or guitar. The next input are your stereo inputs. That's where you connect things like your iPad or your phone if you're playing music. Because this is quite an old system, it still has the RCA connections. You don't see much of that anymore, but this one still had those RCA consumer level audio outputs. And so you'll need an RCA cable to connect to your iPad or whatever you are connecting to those stereo inputs. But you also have the quarter inch jacks just like these, and these are stereo quarter inch jacks. You can either connect stuff through the RCA or you can connect it via quarter inch. And then the last section that you have at the bottom are your different outputs that send signals to outboard equipment like processors of some kind. So you might have extra equipment to process your signal like EQs or compressors or things like that, and this is where they tap the signal from. And then you have your returns on this side. For most basic operations, you are not going to be using these. These are called auxiliary outs and auxiliary returns, or auxiliary sends and auxiliary returns for different outboard equipment. And then finally you have your speaker outputs, left and right. The last section here is your stereo output, and this is where you can connect a recorder of some kind if you want to record the output of your mixer. So let's go ahead and connect up some things and see exactly how everything works. Now you have to make sure that everything is turned down. Make sure all your levels are turned down so that you don't get that pop into your speakers when you switch on. So yeah, basically that's how this system works. It's a very popular type of setup, and you see many other manufacturers have their own version of this, but Fender really produces good quality portable systems like this that are easy to carry around and very easy to operate. And that's it. That's the Fender Passport PD-250, a really old but really reliable system. If you like this video, make sure you press that like button, subscribe, press the notification. I do all sorts of videos on different types of media, from photography, videos, and sound for beginners. See you next time.